I'm Kevin Stevens, a native Pensacolian, husband, father, and U.S. Navy veteran. But that's not what this is about. I'm a local businessman who has owned many successful companies over the years. But it's not about this either. Recently, I ran for public office and was elected to a seat on the ECUA Board of Commissioners. So what's this about? It's about an elected official who will serve his community and hold his fellow elected officials accountable, all while making local government more transparent. Join me in making Pensacola a better place to live, work, and play. So welcome back to another episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So I figured you folks were tired of seeing me by myself every day talking about very interesting ECUA business that we have going the last 2 Tuesdays of the month. But again, I wanted to take the time right now to introduce our new ECUA director, Mr. Jason Yarborough. So, Jason, welcome on my show.
Thank
you know, and for the folks that don't know it, and I'm gonna let you tell them a little bit about yourself. But Jason's actually from Pensacola.
Yes.
So it was interesting. It was a very grueling interview process. We interviewed lots of different candidates, some very impressive resumes, very impressive face-to-face, but through it all, through the large stack of very qualified people, Jason, you definitely stood out, and I think that's an understatement. We're thankful to have you. So without further ado, just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Pensacola. I graduated from the university. I graduated from Escambia County High, Escambia High, and then I went away to college to New Orleans for my undergraduate. I got the opportunity to come back home to get my Master of Public Administration at the University of West Florida. You know, I had great memories with Pensacola. Unfortunately, I got a job over near Fort Walton Beach with a small city of Mary Esther. Ultimately, I was made the assistant city manager. Then I took another job down in the city of Groveland as their assistant city manager. It was a small agricultural town outside Orlando. Very fast growth, though. I mean, when I got there, we were only like 2.5 square miles, our city boundaries. But then through annexations, we were like 15 square miles by the time I left. We tripled in population size. So fast growing communities with a lot of infrastructure demands is kind of one of the things that I've experienced a lot in my career. After that, I went to be the utility director for the city of Palm Bay. So I went from a city of about 5,000-6,000 to a city of about 100,000 with 32,000 customers, a lot of customers, a lot of growth. We were, setting 400-500 meter sets a month. Just explosive growth. And after that, I was there for 6-7 years. Okay. And I went to work for a special district. I did that for 2.5 years. And then I went back to being a utility director. And then I went back to being a city administrator. And then I got to be, for the last 7.5, almost 8 years, I was the assistant city manager, interim city manager, and deputy city manager for the city of Northport, Florida, down in Sarasota County.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So, and again, it wasn't a big, and that was a big thing for myself and the other board members. Is like, ideally speaking, what individual can we put in this position that there's the least amount of learning curve.
Right.
And again, with your experience with working with appointed directors as well as elected officials, because I always tell people. In fact, I told you during the interview process. And a lot of the other candidates, I'm like, look, it's a little bit different dynamic working with elected officials as opposed to appointed officials. You got a lot of different personalities, a lot of different agendas. But I tell folks, there's a lot of animation going on with some of our city councils, some of our Escambia County and Santa Rosa County commissions. So those meetings get pretty lively. I like to think we're probably we're a little bit more. Subdued, I would say. There's
collegial.
Yes, a lot less drama there than you have. But again, you're still dealing with different personality types. All good. I'll tell you. And same thing I told you when we selected you is, we're very blessed, and you've found that already, working with such a solid staff. I mean, our staff is phenomenal. We just have, our department heads are great. I mean, they're just a wealth of knowledge. But give me a little insight on, because I spoke with you a little bit last week, but about your first couple weeks with ECUA and you're integrating and learning the different departments and department heads. And so how's that gone so far?
Awesome. So for the last few weeks, all I've been doing is kind of interviewing my direct reports. I've been interviewing their direct reports, so the direct reports to my direct reports, and just what is your function, what's your role, how does it fit into the grand scheme of things with the ECUA? What are some things we're doing right and we're doing a lot right? What are some things that we could tweak and optimize, and just getting everybody's feedback, and also going out and seeing the facilities and getting to know staff there as well. Also, I've been blessed to be able to do 2 new employee orientations and just kind of welcome new employees on board.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and it is. I mean, like I said, we're blessed to have the organization that we have. Everybody's structured. I mean, it doesn't run itself, but I can tell you, I mean, I have no problem taking a week off and not worrying about the house burning.
Absolutely.
And the same to you. So it's good you're seeing that. So again, a lot of you're coming on a time now where we're passing a new budget, and the new budget's about to be voted on. We've had some preliminary voting on the budget thus far, working out some particulars in it. I know you've read the staff's recommendations and budgets and so forth. A lot of folks don't understand. We go through weeks of presentations from our staff. So each department, sanitation, recycling, you name it, water reclamation, et cetera, all go through their presentations, very detailed presentations on the budget. Was it last year? Did we hit it? Were we high? Were we low? Were we pretty spot on? Do we need more? Do we need less? I've never had anybody ask me for less, but I can tell you they're very, very informative. And I know you've had a chance to review those, and that's something we're going to be going over real shortly. Is putting the final vote, kind of having the other board members ask some final questions, and then going from there. So I'll tell you, we're going to break for a short commercial, and we'll be right back.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
It starts with a Total Connect Solutions power delivery system with solar, battery, and generator. Total Connect Solutions integrated windows, sound and video, lights into one dynamic system. Imagine a theater in your own home. With our expert team on our side, every high-tech need is met with precision and care. Total Connect Solutions, where quality innovation and true integration make your home come alive. TotalConnectSolutions.com.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
Your fleet runs or you're out of business.
From engines to transmissions to routine maintenance.
And emergencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If we can't fix it on location, we'll tow it in.
Poor maintenance can cost thousands of dollars in lost business.
We work with any kind of truck from small to semis.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance, your one-stop shop for all your fleet maintenance needs.
8668 Fowler Avenue, Pensacola. ExtremeFleetMaintenance.com.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So right before the commercial break, I was just introducing ECUA's new executive director, Mr. Jason Yarbrough. So welcome back on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Jason, I know prior to the commercial, we were talking a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit of background about you being from Pensacola and having the opportunity to move back, which is a real blessing for you and us that we ended up able to bring you back. I always tell folks, that when a new administration is elected, they're always like, well, give us your first 100 days. What's your strategy for your next 100 days, or what do you hope to accomplish your next 100 days? I'll give you a little bit more time than that. And we'll say 6 months. So you got some goals you're going to try to accomplish within ECUA the next 6 months?
Absolutely. One of the biggest is to get out into the community, learn the stakeholders, understand what their pressure points are and how ECUA fits in with those. Florida West is a big thing from the economic development perspective, and safe, reliable water and advanced treatment of wastewater and sanitation are key ingredients of economic development. So I'm looking forward to getting to know that team over there. And the other thing is just to make sure that our capital programs, because we have so many, we have such a complex capital program, to make sure that it gets off to the right foot, especially with the upcoming budget. I think we're proposing, it's $68 million worth of new capital investment. The other thing is, in about 2 years or less, we will be retiring some significant debt, which will give us the opportunity to
maybe redeploy that.
Yes, absolutely redeploy that. We collect impact fees from new development, but you can't use that. You can only use it for growth-related stuff. You can't use it for renewal and replacement of existing infrastructure. So that debt will be integral to making sure that we stay on top of the needs of our community.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because that's something that the board, we discussed that as well, as we have all this debt. I remember when I'm coming in, and I'm a financial guy, so I'm all about P&Ls, balance sheet, debt flow schedules. I wear many hats, but one universal hat I wear with all of the companies I have interest in is CFO. So I'm big on the financials. I remember looking at some of the refinancing some of the debt. This was 6 years ago when interest rates were in the threes. Yeah. So I know it seems like a lifetime ago, but there was a time when there was a 3 in front of a lot of your interest rates. I know mine as well. Not so much now. So I remember going, hey, look, now's the time to restructure some of this 8, 9, and 10% for some of the 3 stuff. And we've got great finance guys, as you know, folks there that do a great job of that. So we refinance that. Fast forward to where we are now, some of that debt is coming off the books. And so now we've got this, not to say influx of money, but we already had it budgeted every month. And there's so many things. Every time we as a board talk about rate increases, and no one likes that. No. I don't like it. The ratepayers don't like it. No. But at the end of the day, everything's going up. Absolutely. Our fuel costs are going up. Absolutely. I'm not going to hammer FPL, but if you folks think you have a higher power bill, you ought to see our power bill at ECUA. It would knock your socks off. Yeah. And that goes up as our fees go up. So I could go on and on and on. The chemicals we use, the labor, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I remind people frequently we are a not-for-profit, and a lot of folks think we're some publicly traded company, and I'm like, no, we're not. So we're not allowed to make money. We make money enough to cover our fees and our overhead and so forth, but we can't make money on that. So, but again, so just back to you talking about that money coming back to us. We've got tons of projects to fix our aging infrastructure, which is what I always tell people. They're like, well, I said, folks, we're the oldest city, contrary to what St. Augustine says. We're Pensacola, first city, but our infrastructure is much older than 1981. Right. Yeah. And so I'm always explaining that to people that ECUA, we've been around since 1981 when we got our charter. So you can imagine some of the pipes and the infrastructure and so forth that we've been replacing, this long, and we have a lot more to go. And always remind people that when we pass that budget it has very little to do with adding additional infrastructure and more to do with replacing aging infrastructure. So we never seem to be getting ahead of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of folks don't realize, for the most part, new infrastructure is paid for by the development community, and that's turned over to us. And then that's when it really becomes our financial liability. The good thing about debt, if there is one good thing, it allows you to kind of get ahead of inflationary pressures. You can do projects now, whereas if you try to save up and just pay cash, and some places do that, inflation can really eat away at those savings, and it feels like you're almost never ahead of the game. But being able to finance that debt or to finance those projects allows you to kind of buy in today's dollars instead of let inflationary pressures kind of take projects. Because one of the things, unfortunately, that we've seen since COVID is the price of capital construction materials has just been phenomenal through the roof, unfortunately.
Oh, it's huge. That's what I tell people. I mean, most of our chemicals, we're buying, in fact, not most, all the chemicals you buy from the private sector have gone up. I mean, it is, so when they're sitting there saying, why aren't you able to cut cost? I'm like, let me ask you something. When you go to the Winn-Dixie, do you see those prices going up or down? Right. Are you paying more or less for a gallon of gas? Right. Are you paying more or less for a carton of eggs? I mean, so again, I tell people, yes, we're a not-for-profit, but we rely on the private sector. Same thing with labor. I mean, labor has gone up exponentially. Our health insurance cost. I mean, the same things that I tell, my viewers out there, our ratepayers, that you deal with on a daily basis, running a business. Heck, mom and dad running a household. Right. We're experiencing the same thing, just exponentially over on this side, and we've got nowhere to place those. So, when we sit there and talk about, a rate increase, which is what we're discussing now. And last I checked, I'm gonna get an exact number, so I know someone's going to email me because I'm off 5 cents, but it's somewhere around $3 and. I think $325, $330 a month is what we're talking about for added, for the water, for the sewer, for the this, for that, that's so forth cumulatively. Which again, that's not a lot of money to a lot of folks, but for folks on a fixed income, it is. It is. And we're very cognizant of that. We try to keep those down as best we can. So you folks stay tuned. We're gonna be right back after this short commercial break.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
Your fleet runs or you're out of business.
From engines to transmissions to routine maintenance.
And emergencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If we can't fix it on location, we'll tow it in.
Poor maintenance can cost thousands of dollars in lost business.
We work with any kind of truck from small to semis.
Oh, Extreme Fleet Maintenance, your one-stop shop for all your fleet maintenance needs.
8668 Fowler Avenue, Pensacola. ExtremeFleetMaintenance.com.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
It starts with a Total Connect Solutions power delivery system with solar, battery, and generator. Total Connect Solutions integrated windows, sound and video, lights into one dynamic system. Imagine a theater in your own home. With our expert team on our side, every high-tech need is met with precision and care. Total Connect Solutions, where quality innovation and true integration make your home come alive. TotalConnectSolutions.com.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So again, just prior to the short commercial break, we're just going over some everybody's favorite subjects, potential rate increases, infrastructure costs, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing, so when I do these shows, I'll send out emails and so forth and try to reach out to some of the folks, not just in District 5, but just in Escambia County in general, and say, what do you have questions, comments, and concerns? Now I have a Facebook page myself, On the Board with Kevin Stevens, so you guys look that up if you don't have that. but they'll email me questions. And again, and a lot of times they're the same questions I've got the month before, but I always ask them. I always get asked, and I always like to answer them. One of them, which is the backflow preventer. So as you know, we had a DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection. You folks that don't know that, they're kind of like the IRS, but on our end when it comes to environmental enforcement. But they had passed a law, basically a mandate that if you had a backflow preventer, those you folks who don't have wells or sprinkler systems that are tied into, either tied in or not tied in to our water system. So conceptually, it's one of those things where this could have been handled probably with a scalpel versus a sledgehammer, but in DEP form, they basically said if you have a well, whether it's tied into our system or not, you've got to have it certified because it could be contaminating the water. We've never had any issues with that in Escambia County. They deal with that more so in South Florida and Central Florida, not here. They don't have the great sandy aquifer that we do. But a lot of people were fought it. We fought it. I mean, the board fought it. In fact, because this had been something that had been passed for years now, and decades. And ECUA is like, look, I understand how it is in South Florida, but that's not North Florida. We don't need that. We're not having any issues with any contamination, cross-contamination with any of our folks. For me, it hit close to home because A, I have a well. I have a sprinkler system. Me overseeing District 5, that's my district, so that whole north end of the county has the largest concentration of sprinkler systems and wells up there, right? We also have the largest concentration of septic tanks. So I was like, look, this is ridiculous. I can't sign on to this thing. And, but again, DEP comes back and says, either you sign on to it or we're going to fine you.
Yeah.
Potentially fine you. I mean, so they were waving that out there like, hey, we're going to fine you, and then if they do fine us, of course, that gets passed on to the ratepayer. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'm a little, as my wife will tell you, I'm a little hard-headed, and so when that vote came down about voting to make it mandatory for, especially my ratepayers, my constituents, I was like, I was a no vote. So it was me and one other vote no. So I lost that one. Not often. Usually we're all on the same page. The board members are on the same page. They may have been a little bit more pragmatic than me. I was just like, it goes against every fiber of my being. It's not right. It doesn't make sense. I voted no. It passed anyway. But I get calls saying, hey, look, I'm getting letters from ECUA that they may cut my water off. And understand, folks, that's not us. That is not ECUA. So I've also told my staff, I said, look, before anybody's water gets cut off, make darn sure you call me. And if I got to drive myself out there to that person's house and explain to them before their water gets cut off, that's what I want to do. The last thing I want to do is shut somebody's water off. But the other thing is, real quick, is bulk pickups. I get another call about bulk pickups, and so years ago we would drive our trucks to the neighborhoods, whether you called us or not, and we'd do the bulk pickups. And what was happening is we're driving through a neighborhood, and there may be like one or two bulk pickups at that time, right? So using a lot of fuel, a lot of wear and tear on the vehicles, a lot of extra hours and so forth. So again, I mean, I voted on that myself and suggested it that we need to have folks call us. Still free, still included in your service, but we're not going to send trucks through subdivisions and neighborhoods and waste lots of man hours, fuel and so forth without knowing that. So finally, I think we've gotten enough information out there. Sigrith and our other marketing team folks have done great with educating people on, look, you have to call us to get your bulk pickups picked up. You just give us a call, schedule it, we're out there, in and out, done. So anyway, that was a big that was a big
Smart.
thing. But I know we talked about introducing you to some of our other elected officials, and I'll be just let you folks know I'll be reaching out to some of my county commissioner friends, city council. I've already spoke to DC last week. So when he gets back in town, we'll set up something with him, our county commissioner, and so forth, just to kind of introduce you to these folks. Because again, one of my big campaign sticking points was, collaboration with our county and city partners.
Yes.
Nothing is worse than having the county go there and do some new infrastructure, storm drain, whatever the case may be, not coordinate with us, and then a year later we're jackhammering up the new concrete, putting down new sewer pipes or new water pipes. I'm like, communication,
Yes.
communication. So that's huge
Yes.
to get with them, because again, we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
We all want the best for Escambia County. And we also want to be very fiscally conservative.
It's all coming from the same wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's huge, and I think we've done a really good job with that. I know I've tried my devious best to get with our city and county counterparts and saying, hey, if you got an infrastructure project going on, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Because again, same thing we do with builders and developers, as you alluded to.
Yeah.
A lot of our infrastructure and so forth is paid for, by the private sector.
Right.
We're not, ECUA is not giving developers any breaks.
No.
Zero breaks. In fact, the opposite of that. But they're a huge benefit to us when it comes to the cost sharing.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have these large excavators and so forth that we're digging up large tranches of roadways to put in new infrastructure. We rely on the private sector, and a lot of times that's them developing maybe a new subdivision or a development of some sort.
Absolutely.
And like you said, the ditch, the trench is already dug. The subdivision may require maybe a 3/4 inch.
We're paid to upgrade it.
And we're going to pay to
large
upgrade it, yeah. And it just makes perfect sense. It's like, look, we're not giving you anything. You're paying for the big stuff, but we will offset the cost between a 1 inch or a 2 inch or a 3/4 inch or a 1 inch.
Saves money.
Saves everybody money. And then we're able to tie in some of these folks. We're able to service some of these folks later on, literally down the line with some of that stuff. So I always want to explain that to people because a lot of folks get the misconception with ECUA that, hey, we're paying for development. Like, no, development's paying for development.
Yes.
And I'm sure you all did some
Growth pays for
stuff.
growth.
Yes. And I'm sure you all did some of the same, you had some of the same challenges down there in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and for the most part, developers want to do the right thing. You explain the rules and you hold them accountable for the rules, and most people do the right thing.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. I'll tell you. Well, Jason, we're about to wrap up. Again, I want to thank you for coming on my show, and we're really thankful and blessed to have you.
I'm very glad to be here.
And then like I said, welcome back to Pensacola.
It's great to be home.
So we're looking forward to it for a very prosperous relationship and good communication with our ratepayers, and like I said, so we're definitely looking forward to that. And folks, you'll see a flyer. We've got our food drive coming this Saturday, so stay tuned for that. This Saturday at Marcus Point Baptist Church, there's going to be a flyer up here, so stand by for that. Handing out a lot of food. I think a few months ago we were handing out steak and lobster. I'm not saying steak and lobster, but I'm certainly telling you there was last month. So please join in with that. Again, thank you. God bless. We'll see you next month. Bye-bye.